I'm Patrick Bailey with IQlist. Today is June 11th, 2022, and in this video I'm going to talk about taking your 3D printer on a family vacation. Okay, so here's some prints that we did print out, and some are kind of suggestions too. Now, I think I'm kind of more envisioning like a family outing with a bunch of families, like greater relatives and whatnot, uncles and aunts. And we've done that before in the past. We haven't done it in years. Everyone's getting old or passed away. But back when we used to do that, we had a big family gathering. I think it's really worthwhile to bring a printer, and I'll go over some of the reasons. But one reason is just people haven't seen it. So if you're excited about this and you have a big family gathering, I mean, you want to focus on what you're doing. Go have fun, go ski, go whatever. But if you have one of these print in the background, it's kind of a cool conversation piece, and you can get people talking about some things. But while we were there, we actually, on my vacation, we actually printed some practical prints. So one thing we had, here's this Doorstop, and I'll put a link in the show notes to this and go over the details, that basically the door it'll compress over and the door will slide in here and get stuck and pop up and sticks. And we actually used this because we didn't have enough door stops, because we had 2 rooms that were connected, and we popped the one open and we had a chair there for a while, but I was like, hey, I can print something out. And that was relatively easy to do. Another thing we did, we didn't need this, but I was kind of looking for prints that you might need on vacation that are practical. And here's this coat hanger that unfolds. And it's pretty, we didn't need this, but it was pretty cool. However, I think this does need a redo because it does this. And I think it needs to, stick in such a way that it's not going to go any further. Now, if this would stay like this, it worked just fine. But I think it's on my agenda to kind of do a redo of this, but I think it's a neat idea. Another thing, you got a bunch of little kids. We didn't use this one, we didn't have a need for it, but if you have a bunch of little kids with you, there's a whistle. So if you're out in the woods, you can give a bunch of little kids a whistle, something fun to do, and this is a ring. So that's a fun one, and they have all kinds of sizes on those. That's a cool one to print out. Another one that we did print out, that we didn't necessarily have a need for, because I think we had a bottle opener there, but this is a great bottle opener. It's all 3D printed, and we used it all weekend long. It didn't break, and it worked just fine. So that may be another useful print to print out there. But another thing I think would be great, and you'd have to prepare for this before you go on a family gathering, name tags. Name tags came up recently on the Prusa contest, and so I made a bunch of them, but you might want to go out there and prepare some name tags. This one happens to be a lanyard, but it might be okay to print something thin like this, everyone's name, and do a double sticky side tape, and stick it on. And that might be something for a big gathering, or if you have lanyards, that'll work too. And that might be something you need to do. Take some time, but that's something you have to prepare beforehand. Or another thing that I think would be really good to bring to a family gathering, to have something to walk away with, are fridge magnets. I'm a big fridge magnet dweeb, and I have these blank rounds that you can put SVG files on and adjust and do whatever you want. But I think if you went there and prepared a theme, like let's say you were skiing, you could find some SVG files, put a little ski guy on there and say, Bailey Family Gathering 2022 or something like that, and put a date on there and make them. You might, depending on how many people are out at your thing, you might have to make a few before you go. But definitely make them while they're there, and that'd be something cool that people could walk away with. So anyway, there's some ideas out there, and we'll kind of go over the details of what I have here. But I think, especially for a big family gathering, it might be an interesting thing to bring a 3D printer. 80% of the reason to bring it is just kind of show off, to show people what's out there and kind of the coolness of it. But there's actually some useful things you can do while you're out there. Some that are utilitarian, and some that might help you with whatever theme that you're working on there. So with that, we'll go over some of these numbers. Okay, let's go over some URLs and then go over the numbers that I have for a few of these. So here, these are all the prints that I printed on recently on Printables, and also there's a few more that I didn't show in the last part of this video. Here's the blank round OpenScad fridge magnet. It's a blank round. The idea is you can add your SVG file and do what you want. I even made a video on how to do it, so I think that's a good thing to go to. There's probably other things you can do, but if you want to make a magnet, I think it's a good idea. One I forgot to show, but I did a video on this recently, a customized pool torpedo. So we actually were on vacation, we had a pool, and we didn't have any pool toys. Now my kids are older, they're 14 or 18, but they actually, when we made this, they played with it. One thing to note though, we did some experiments with it, and we had to print it at 100% infill in order for it to sync, but it sank and it worked. So there's an idea out there, you may want to print some toys for kids. along the ideas of toys. I didn't put this out there for this video, but here's a little grabber. Now this, I take this back. This would be a great one to pre-print before you go on a big family vacation, because this is one of those things that shows the idea of what you can do with 3D printing, and also a compliant grabber, and also a little toy. So I would definitely, if you had a big a big family gathering, 20, 30 people, I'd print a bunch of these out and just show them, because it's kind of fun. It's a neat thing to show. Doorstop. Here's the doorstop we use, and I think it's a great, simple design. It's brilliant. Whistles. I love this guy. He made all these whistle rings. Little kids would love this. Now, you gotta probably tame some little kids in, because they're gonna send them out. Give them some whistles and send them outside, right? But he's got all different kinds of sizes, so make sure you're printing an appropriate size for little kids. Anyway, I think that's a good one. And then here is the bottle opener. This is on my keychain now. I think it's a great design. So there's that URL. And then, name tags. There's all kinds of name tags. You can go on my thing on you can go on my user on Printables and see a bunch of different name tags. Go to that name tag contest. Even when they close them, they leave them open. In a sense, you can go back there and review them all in one go. So there's all those URLs. So with that, let's go over some of the fun numbers. So the bottle opener. The bottle opener is so tiny that it goes really quickly. So this one, takes about 1 hour and 2 minutes to print. Of course, the shortened one might go a little faster. I printed the original one, which is a little bit longer. Electricity, a penny. It weighs 0.002 kilograms. It's almost so small you can't weigh it. And that comes out, at that weight, it comes out to 4 cents from worth of material. So all in, 5 cents to print this. Nothing. Go print a bunch of them. If they break, you just make another one. They're just so cheap. Let's see, what else do I got? The doorstop. Sorry, the doorstop takes a little bit longer, 3 hours and 28 minutes to print, 3 cents electricity, and it weighs 0.024 kilograms, and at $20 per kilogram comes out to 48 cents. So all in for that guy, 50 cents. Now, let's see, what else do I have? The hanger. The hanger, which is an interesting design, but I think it needs a little redo. And I think if you redo the design, it's going to be a good redo. Will be pretty close to how long this one takes. So as is, it takes 3 hours and 28 minutes to print, takes 3 cents for electricity, and it weighs 0.024 kilograms. And all in, so at that is 48 cents worth of material at $20 per kilogram. All in, 51 cents. So not too bad. Now the whistles and the magnets, I didn't film those because I didn't film the whistle, but I've done plenty of magnets. Now the whistle, it takes 21 minutes to print, and I kind of look at the weight, look at electricity. It's going to probably cost you 5 cents to print those, so dirt cheap. In fact, it's something I would love to print for the homeschool conference, but imagine handing out 300 whistles to a bunch of homeschool kids in one building. I'm sure not only would the parents kill me, but the organizers would probably kill me too. It'd be a lot of fun though, but maybe for a camp, you get them outdoors, something to do. Then magnets. Now the magnets, depending on what you do, depending on what the size is and the complexity, you're talking doing probably 60 to 120 minutes, and the main cost is going to be the magnet. The magnets I use, once you add it all up, you're probably talking $3 to $3.50 per magnet. Now, one thing I didn't talk about that. If you're going to do a lot of detailed text that's smaller, you might want to go with a smaller nozzle. So you might want to experiment with that and see what you can do. A smaller nozzle means you're going to way up the time. So for example, I have a Harry Potter magnet with platform 9 3/4. There's so much small text on there that it will not work very well with a 0.04 magnet unless I make a really big one or I use a 0.25 nozzle. In fact, I just had a print I did this morning where I'm doing a dinosaur with a leash, and the leash on it is kind of so small that I could not do a magnet the size I wanted to. I had to go make it slightly bigger, about 50% bigger, to catch that detail, and then it worked just fine. My other choice would have been to go to a 0.25 nozzle, which would have meant a lot more time printing, but it might be worthwhile if you're doing some event where you need that detail. Maybe you really want to go with that 0.25 nozzle. So another note, if you do, and I haven't done this, I believe in the slicer, you're not going to switch out your nozzles, but I believe in the slicer you can tell it layer height. So you can adjust that layer height so you could do fatter layers on the lower parts where you don't need the detail, but once you get to the detail, you could probably do finer layers to get that better detail. Thought process. I haven't done that myself, but I think that's a possibility. So there's all that. If you guys have any ideas on good ideas to print on a family vacation, post them below. I think there's going to be some great ideas as time goes, as printers get better, as they get more detailed, as they get, I don't want to say smaller, but the Prusa Mini is small enough, not too bad to bring that one on vacation. I think there's a lot of good ideas out there. But if you have any good ideas out there, post them below, share them. But with that, let's wrap this fun video up with a reminder that 3D printing is an engineering adventure that you're on. You can develop your skills and knowledge, and you can take this in so many ways. You can make a business out of this. You can teach others, and you can make some amazing designs. So design it, engineer it, and sometimes show it off to your family members. The homeschool conference approaches, so I'm trying to get my last-minute prints in to show off and sell. Of course, that is when I have failures. I swapped out my i3 MK3 to a 0.8 nozzle, and I'm printing out double-sized dinosaur skulls. Well, once I was 12 out of 15 hours in, I ran out of filament in the middle of the night. And that is totally on me. I wasn't paying attention. Then the redo I did had the filament wind itself around the spool holder and fail. Sometimes you get cursed prints, but hopefully, in this case, third time's the charm.